Aberration, full of wonder and mystery, beautiful caves reaching down to previously unexplored depths, the only place one might find any solace on this broken ark. For the surface, inhospitable, scorching heat that no one can survive. The third story map for Ark Survival Ascended, a map I intend to beat. This, my friends, is a journey, a challenge that I must complete in 100 days without dying. Hardcore Aberration. Before the video starts, let me just say thank you all for the continued support on these 100-day playthroughs. It truly means the world to me. Now, let's go see if I have what it takes to defeat Rockwell without dying. Day 1 started off like any other first day in ARK. Spawn in a relatively safe area, collect resources, and try to avoid anything that might kill you. The safest spot, in my opinion, is just outside of the portal area. There's a small little island just in front of the Easy Cave, which is where I set up shop for the first few days. The area had an abundance of trilobites too, so that meant I had access to early game oil, chitin, and pearls. The island, though, had everything I needed to start off. Fiber, wood, thatch, stone flint, enough to make a few items, that is. So after I grabbed everything, I had to head on over to the mainland for some more. Seeing as how the challenge was to not die and make it all the way to Rockwell, I was being very cautious whenever I ventured away from my safe little island, but surprisingly, there wasn't much around. A lot of passive creatures, sure, but the carnivores didn't seem to spawn until the end of day 1. Right along the riverside, I found a max level raptor, so I bowled the dino and knocked it out, which then became my first official mount in Aberration. Day 2, I tamed a low-level Doedicurus so I could get started on my stone gathering in order to make all the building materials I need for my base. After that, it was metal farming to try and get myself some metal tools, and then I ventured a little ways away, stole some gems from a roll rat, and then claimed its child as my own. I didn't know this for a few days, but raising that roll rat saved me so much time in gathering up wood for my base. Day 3 was rather exciting. Right above my base, along the metal bridge that leads into the portal zone, I found a little Cosmo, the new spider shoulder pet that literally allows you to become Spider-Man. Seeing as how I live right next to a species Z plant, I had easy access to its taming food, so I climbed up there, grappled the spider, and jumped down into the water and brought it over to my base. It only took 1 seed to tame too, so it wasn't all that bad. Plus, now, I had my own little jumping spider. Day 4, I tamed an otter because I felt like it, made a full set of flak armor, and watched as about 17 Parasers fought our Karkinos. I kid you not. When Aberration first launched, there was an overabundance of Parasaur spawns around the entire map. I counted them all once. I literally found up to 20 all in the same area at one point. It was insane. I shouldn't complain though, because I got some free polymer out of it. After that, though, I found the holy grail of tames, everyone. The best early game tame on Aberration you possibly could have. I found a max level 150 dire bear with a baby that was the opposite gender as its parent. You know what that means? I could not pass this opportunity up. No, I couldn't. So, I climbed up on a rock and started tranking it, but eventually it started to run, so deciding to risk it all, I started to chase the bear around the entire area, praying and hoping that nothing else found me and murdered my face. Eventually, I finally got the bear down and tamed it up. Once the baby bear was all grown up, I then bred the two of them together so I could have a fully imprinted bear, which was literally the MVP of these beginning few days. After my new bear was done grown, I then took it out to level a bit, but as I was exploring, I came across 2 high-level Ravagers, a 140 and a 130, so I tamed them up. I made sure my Cosmo was on neutral though, and allowed it to fire webs from my shoulder to slow them down as I was tranking them out, which surprisingly was a very big help, especially when the bowler ran out. So, after I tamed them both up and brought them back to the base, I started to breed them, but not before I made some gasoline to power up the Dino Depot terminal, which made breeding for this playthrough 10 times easier. I then proceeded to breed up the Ravagers for the next 5 in-game days. Yep, you heard me. 5 days. Listen, at this point, you really shouldn't be surprised. Most of my playtime in ARK is from sitting AFK and breeding up dinos. I wanted the perfect Ravagers, especially if I wanted to take on the Easy Cave. Ravagers were the easiest creatures to get inside and maneuver around in there with, so I needed a perfect stat breeding pair. The reason it took me so long was because I found another high-level Ravager, a 145, just outside my base that I had to tame, which meant I needed to breed those new stats back into the current line. Sure, it may have taken me a long time, but I eventually got it done. All thanks to the Dino Depot terminal. I'm not kidding, this mod was a lifesaver during this playthrough. It's my new favorite mod, period. It makes my job so much easier. At the end of day 10, though, I finally had my perfect breeding pair of Ravagers, and from them I raised up at least a dozen or so babies just in case I needed them or something went wrong. After all this, though, after spending 5 days breeding, it was time to start making my base. And do you know what that means? Mini building montage. Let's go! After building the main shell of the base and placing down all the crafting benches and storage I need for the time being, I made what little electronics I could in order to craft the gene scanner because eventually I knew I needed it. After that, though, I went hunting. Hunting for the one creature that would ensure my win against Rockwell, a Megalosaurus. I found a 135 not far from base, so I made up a super trank dart and KO'd it before taming it up and bringing it back to base. I then grabbed some blue gems along the way before heading off to grab some organic polymer from the crabs that spawn along the riverside. After I had all the materials I needed, I crafted myself some hazard gear because I wanted to head on down to the Drake nest soon to nab my very first egg, and to do that, I need radiation protection. After that, I made some final touch-ups to the base, a base that I would continually work on throughout the entire playthrough. For those of you who don't know where I moved to, if you watch my original Aberration 100 Days on AAC, you should recognize it, for it's the same spot I built in that playthrough, right on the waterfall that leads into the blue zone. Good access to metal, crystal, gems, gas balls, a lot of it. The only thing I need to venture away for is pearls. The next few days were heavily focused on finding myself more Megalosauruses, and after taming a few decent levels, a 135 and a 140, I got lucky because just down the hill from my base, I found a level 150 Megalo, and you know I had to tame it. I lured the dino up the hill and led it into some dino gates and trapped it. I then knocked it out and fed it some mutton to perfect taming. After that, I found myself a dung beetle to start fertilizer production before heading back to base and starting the process of breeding the megalostats into a perfect version. Now, this here, folks, took so long. All the stats I needed were spread across 4 different megalos. So after I had done one set, I had to breed another set with the baby I just got. So eventually I could get to the point where all the stats were on 2 opposite gender dinos. Then, and only then, could I breed out the perfect megalo from them. This took me so long, all the way until day 20 to actually get to a point where I could start trying to work towards the mutation aspect of the breeding. While all this was happening though, I kept myself busy by gathering resources and doing small touch-ups to the base. Day 19 and 20 though, I started building some things. I started off by making a breeding pen, so when I was working on the mutations, I'd have a place to put all those dinos, so they weren't just, crowding my base. After that, I made a greenhouse because I needed to plant my own crops and the Z plants in order to get those charge grenades if I ever wanted to tame a Yeatling, one of Aberration's new creatures. By the time the end of day 20 rolled around, I had about 10 females and 1 perfect male ready to breed and start mutating. I also tamed a high-level bulb bug. We don't talk about what happened to that first one. Day 21 was the day I made the long trek down to the rock drake nest to steal my first egg. I brought with me 3 megalos for protection because I wanted to be careful and safe. I did not want to die down there. This was a hardcore challenge, and if I died, it was over. I'd have to start all over again. And I did not want to do that. When I got down there, I had to wait for the eggs to spawn in, but when they did, oh boy. Oh! Alright, I got an egg! Oh, that's 180? I just got a 180. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm convinced they just like spawned right on top of me. Huh. Okay, what was that one? I didn't see it. Oh, that's the 180. That's a 40. Okay, that's blah. Ooh, 145. Once I got back up to the green zone with my eggs, I hatched them and let them grow into the Dino Depot terminal while I started working on the Megalo mutations. I'm gonna warn you right now. Most of these days, especially the later ones, were spent AFK and breeding these dinos up. You'll see later in the video on why this was so important. But back to the present, I sat there for hours breeding up the drakes once they were grown up and trying and failing to get mutations for the megalos. But there wasn't really much I could do about it. Some days you can get 3 mutations within an hour, and other days it takes 5 just to get a single one. By the end of day 30 though, my final count for mutations was at 4 melee for now, which I considered a good place to stop for the day, considering I had been on the game for hours at this point. All in all, the colors I got from mutations weren't bad either, but I didn't get too attached to them since I knew I'd be breeding way more mutations into the line, and the colors would no doubt be lost by the next mutation. It did not stop me from admiring the colors though, especially the 4th melee mutated Megalo. It looks so cool with red, blue, and purple mixed with one another. So cool. Day 31 was spent grabbing the first of 3 artifacts. The easiest one, of course. I went in there with my pack of Ravengers and we cleared it in no time. After I got the artifact, I then went back to base and started breeding for mutations. Again, like I said, I wanted these mutations out of the way and done early on, so I didn't have to worry about it when I got closer to defeating Rockwell. My goal was to basically make the strongest Megalos in existence, and spoiler alert, I think I did a pretty good job of doing it. I wasn't on single player settings either. The stats are the same as official. I've merely just boosted how long it takes for things to breed, grow, and hatch. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to say is that there's going to be a whole lot more of, well, this. More so than in any other 100-day video I've ever made. I'm pretty sure by the end of day 40, I was up to 10 melee mutations, which was very good for what I had planned. Day 41 was spent in the radiation zone to grab the second artifact. For some reason, though, the entire time I was down there, inside of the cave, I was playing at like 10 frames a second, and it was literally horrible. You'll probably see it now, but as soon as I grabbed the artifact, I made a beeline right for the exit because I could not handle the lag at all. Days 42 through 45 were spent breeding the Megalos for more mutations. There's not really much else to say on it. I mean, I sat down and bred dinos for hours on end. Nothing exciting happened. Like, at all. Day 46 was spent doing the most dangerous artifact cave there is. The underwater one in the blue zone. You know, the one where eels and sarcos and piranha and crabs try to kill you all at once? That one? Yeah. It wasn't as bad as it could have been, alright? I'm genuinely surprised I made it out of that cave alive. It was the one part of the playthrough I was dreading because I knew death was almost guaranteed if I made just a single error. But I eventually made it to the artifact and didn't waste any time before grabbing it and making a run for the exit. Then, for the next few days, I did what every ARK player eventually has to do. Hunting for loot. On the surface. A surface that was infested with Reapers. Yeah. Not afraid to admit, there were a few times where I just about jumped out of my skin in fright, especially when a Reaper spawned almost on top of me. But I needed the loot. I needed good gear if I wanted to face Rockwell, so that's what I did. So I'd wait until it turned night before going out to collect the drops, like normally. Once it started to turn day, though, I'd go back to the entrance and just sit there AFK until it turned night again, and just repeated that process over and over again until I got the loot I wanted. The next few days were merely spent farming up materials and crafting things for the base, like Survivor Mate, although I'm pretty sure the thing is kind of busted on Xbox. It doesn't really work how it's supposed to. Anyways, I made a little bridge over the river so I could have easy access to the other side, which is where I wanted to make my house eventually. I also extended the platform in front of my little workshop so it was bigger and could comfortably store more dinos if need be. After that, though, it was back to the mutating for the next 6 days, which, to be honest, was probably the most productive breeding session I've had in ARK for years. Because before the end of day 60 rolled around, I got my 20th, that's right, you heard me right, the 20th melee mutation on the Megalos, which was insane. But I wasn't done yet. Oh no, I wanted to go even bigger. Sure, 20 was great and all, but I wanted to see if I could get a clean 900% melee damage on the Megalos without any levels bumped into the stat itself. So, well, that's what I did. Before that, though, I went and brought back a little Shinehorn because they were by far my favorite life pet in the game, and I could not go this entire video without taming at least one. It was also a pretty high level too, a 140 to be exact. After that, I realized I was running significantly low on metal, so I went over the bridge I had just made right next to where my gas collector was and mined up the metal veins there. There's about 8 or so over along that ridge, and it gives me a decent amount every time for me not to have to go anywhere else for metal. Plus, with how fast resources spawn back in, I could keep going back and forth and get thousands of metal in just minutes. I did take a small little break to tame up a basilisk, but it was nothing special, just a level 55. I merely wanted to tame one just to say I did it. After that tame, and after all the metal was done smelting though, I made up a few structures I needed. An industrial forge, and an industrial cooker. I needed to grab some more metal eventually, but by the end of day 63, I had both structures crafted and ready to be placed. Day 65 was just megalo breeding, but day 66, I finally decided to take on a yeeling, wanting to at least tame one in this playthrough. They spawn in the forest right next to my base too, so it was perfect for building a trap and just waiting for a high level to spawn in. I tamed it to level 140 pretty quickly, and it had decent stats, at least for 140 it did. I never used the creature, like, ever. But it was cool to tame one just to say I did, I guess. Bragging rights, you know? All the way up to day 70 was, can you guess? Megalo breeding. I did, however, hatch out the rest of the Drake eggs I had nabbed throughout the playthrough to see if they had any good genes, and to my surprise, I found some very powerful ones, like a vampiric trait that was Paragon level 3. Now, day 71, the day I decided to risk it all to tame a Reaper. Throughout my entire ARK career, I have never once tamed a Reaper. Not once. When I first started this 100-day video, I knew I wanted to try and attempt this, and today was that day, for I found a pretty high-level Reaper Queen. After luring it back to a non-radiation zone, I trapped it after what felt like hours of struggle. Once I had finally got it trapped, though, I placed on a lantern to keep it weakened and started the process. Once I got impregnated, I quickly went back to base, but due to an update, I had dino wiped before going out to look for Reapers, and there was literally nothing for me to kill for XP. And by the time I got home, the Reaper was ready to be birthed. So, that high level was literally for nothing. Day 72 was spent raising up a new Drake for the Rockwell fight and getting all the resources in order to finally make my main base. Day 76 was spent birthing out more Reapers, 3 more to be exact, and this time I got the full level bonus on each of them, making them all pop out at level 218. After I sorted out the Reapers, I went out to tame up an anglerfish because I was sick and tired of collecting pearls by hand and wanted another way to do so. Plus, I needed more electronics to build some things. It was a decent enough level, 120 if I'm not mistaken, and it was a pretty cool color too, a crimson red. Once I got back with the angler, I threw out the Reapers and let them heal up for the time being. After that though, on day 78 I went out and actually started to gather the pearls I needed for the structures I wanted to make. I then went back home and crafted up some cementing paste before finally, on day 79, crafting the Stream Forge, a new forge that requires element to activate. So, taking my first pieces of element, I went back out to grab some more blue gems, because those are one of the ingredients needed to make element in a charge station. After that, I had everything I needed, so, after charging up 8 batteries, I made my very first piece of element. Or 3 pieces, to be exact. Day 81 was the day. The day I hatched out the army that would destroy Rockwell. At least, I hoped. I was finally done mutating, and the final numbers were in. 27 melee mutations at around 920% melee damage without any levels boosted into them with the imprint. These things were absolute beasts. Days 85 to days 99. I'll tell you what, I never expected to last this long in a hardcore challenge. No dying on Aberration? That's literally insanity for me. The man who once jumped off a Quet's platform saddle and took a nosedive headfirst into a tree. But, alas, here we are. The final stretch. These last 10 or so days was literally me just around base and prepping everything I need for the boss fight. Medical brews, soups, ammo, the lot of it. I spent so long just AFK around base, waiting for items to be either done crafting or done smelting, so I could then craft that stuff into more stuff. I also made up some decent megalo saddles from a blueprint I found up on the surface. I think it was Mastercraft. Although I literally used up every last bit of hide I had. But, it's not like I need it for anything else at the moment, especially since I was, going to defeat Rockwell soon. During this time frame, though, I was also letting the army gain passive XP in the Dino Balls from the Dino Depot mod. And I think it was around day 90-ish, 91 maybe, when I decided they finally had enough experience for me to take out and start to level them up a bit. I made sure they had around 40,000 health, and at least 1,000 melee damage, but most of them had over 1,000. After that, I had to put them back in their balls and let them heal up. So that gave me some more time to do some chores around the base while waiting. One of the Megalos, though, I hand-picked a very special name for. Valus to ARK. Listen, if you know, you know. After that, I simply started crafting up more gunpowder, making up more shotgun shells, and double-checking I had everything ready. And before I knew it, It was time, folks. Before I get into the boss fight, I just want to say thank you. All of you who sit down and watch my videos. Your support on the content I make inspires me to keep making it, so thank you. Truly from the bottom of my heart. I want you to know that I mean every single word. Now let's go kill Rockwell. Alright, here we go. The finale of Aberration. Oh my god. Alright, let's do this. Okay, here we go.
Look at me. I can rarefied lunar material itself. I have been transmuted. I've transcended mere humanity with all its weaknesses and vulnerabilities.
Wow.
I've survived more than you could ever become. You find yourself in the presence of certain Rockwell. Savant, scientist, survivor.
Hello.
It's been ages since I've seen one of you. Suppose I've nearly forgotten what you look like. Those others, they left me out here to die ages ago. My so-called allies. Too small and fearful to understand what I...
Come on, turn around.
Our half-mechanical overseers called us survivors. They reached back to pluck us from the pages of history and then locked us into their crucibles for their infernal nests. Why is everyone so obstinately blind as to what I will tell you? You remind me of those soldiers from the future. The conflict and shame. They tried to keep me from learning what fueled their contraptions and these arcs, but I found it. I stole the numerous fire of heaven itself that lights the stars and holds angels of love.
Come on, reload.
My discovery, my Edmundium. Who else would have been bold enough to use its raw power? I've begun my ascent to godhood, and I will bring humanity with me one way or another. Through me, none need fear illness or injury, or even death. I've never cared for stinging insects. What are you trying to accomplish here?
There we go.
Without me, there is no future. Pass me to the surface. The world has fallen to titanic monstrosities that will snuff you out like a candle flame. It takes a god to kill titans, you fool. Death is on its way to collect you. Behold the might of
Ow.
Rockwell. Don't recall giving me permission to touch me. Treasure of a trial from Rockwell.
Alright, come on.
Almost felt a twinge at him. I'm done pulling my
Come on.
punches.
Come on. Or half health, baby. Half health. Half health. We're almost there.
Time for me to look. You think you've hurt me in some way? Surely now you must understand what I have done for mankind. Unlifting my defeated mankind hope to take back its own.
Oh.
I would assume the mantle of my creator. It's not too late for you to show me some measure of difference. Perhaps I will be moved to make an example of you if you lay down your arms. Agree to serve me, and in return I will imbue you with a share of this power I've given.
Shut it, Rockwell.
There's plenty of infinity here to go around. Or you could continue your petty crusade and give me
Alright, come on. He's almost dead. He's almost dead.
You're really trying.
Come on there.
Don't recall giving me permission to touch me.
Did you just say I don't recall giving you permission to touch me? Rockwell, get out of here. Bro, get out of here.
It's quite within my means to destroy you. Why do you recoil from my love? This may burn you.
You be gone. Alright, we're almost there.
Stop that, would you?
He's almost dead. These Reapers, though, they're just annoying.
I'm done pulling my punches.
What in the...
Go on, take your best shot. But I can be constantly ready, given enough time.
Alright, here we go, here we go, here we go. Here we go, this is it. This is it, bro's got a sliver left.
Be wise to leave my sanctuary before I manage to form a new body. Either way,
This is it. This is it.
how long are you going to keep
Mother.
up this foolishness? I advise against feeling hope just yet.
Alright, here we go, here we go, here we go. Yes! Yes! Here we go. You hold the element. Look at these. Where's Valis to Ark? Valis to Ark, you're a goat. Yes, we did it, everybody. Here we go. Ascension. The third ascension. Oh, here we go, everybody. Yes! We defeated Aberration! Let's go! Oh my god. We did it. We did it. Ah, next stop, Extinction, man. Next stop, Extinction. Here we go. Nice. That's what I like to see. Oh my god. Yes. Excuse me. Oh, here we are. Look at that. Oh, yeah. That doesn't look quite rendered in there, wildcard. That doesn't look rendered in there. Oh, it doesn't matter. We did it.
It needed to be done, Survivor.
My God, Helena, you are
Rockwell
so
is
loud.
finally no more. As surely nothing could have survived that Ark's destruction.
Helena, you are so
Perhaps
loud.
in oblivion, there is a measure of peace for the man Edmund once was, and not the monster he became.
Nah. He's a monster. He's
Now
always
that
gonna
you've
be a
ended the
monster.
threat from above, it's finally time for you to join me on the surface below. We must turn our attention to Earth. Everything you've survived has prepared you for this. You must confront humanity's past, so that we can restore our planet's future.
Yep. Let's do it. Extinction, here we come. That's it. Rockwell is no more, and I have officially completed my challenge. I survived 100 days on Aberration without dying a single time. Which, if I'm being honest with myself, is kind of a shock. I'm actually quite proud of myself for this. Thanks to all of you who have watched to the end of the video. Your continued support on my channel makes my day. It really does. The next 100-day video will most likely be my Extinction playthrough, but fear not, If you still want some ARK content, I'll be posting episodes of my journey on the new map coming out in a few days called Australis, a Greek-themed ARK map that looks very fun to mess around in. These won't be streams, mind you, they will be actual episodes, but hopefully they can tie you all over until Extinction drops. I've rambled on long enough, so let me thank you one last time, and if you're new around here, consider sticking around. I have a ton of new video ideas for the future. Take care, folks. Take care.